What is up, everybody? Welcome to Statistically Speaking, a UteNation podcast. I'm Ute fan Ivan. Ivan Withers is my name. I'm joined today by Dustin and Matt. We're missing our friend Joe. He's not able to join us today due to some technological issues. His power's out, but we do have some notes from him. Eventually, we'll pull up, but. We're gonna start off by talking today, guys, about Utah's matchup against West Virginia, and solid outing for Utah, in my opinion, offensively and defensively. Put a lot of points on the board and prevented a lot of points from being put on the board. Dustin, Matt, what were your thoughts about that game going into it and then afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, great bounce back game. I was expecting Utah to win. I didn't think it would be quite as dominant as it looked, but Utah had 532 yards of offense and held West Virginia to 105 yards in the first half. It's 35-0 in the middle of the third quarter, and so Utah, they're going to let you run if you're down 35-0. So West Virginia ended up with what looked like a pretty good rushing game. They went about 260 yards on the ground on 48 carries. But you can't get back in a game down 35-0 by running the ball. So looked really good.
Now, and injuries have completely decimated this West Virginia team. Things didn't look great for them at the beginning of the season. But even then, now they've had, I mean, their top two quarterbacks ended up being injured. Their top two running backs being injured. They had a couple guys on defense. Their only returning starter on the offensive line was banged up, couldn't go. So it just honestly, it was sad to watch because it was like watching Utah the last couple of years. Just a team that was not themselves at all. And but Utah did what they're supposed to do. They went on the road. They put up a lot of yards and they played a great game. And so when you see that, something that shouldn't be forgotten, though, is the injuries that happened to Utah and how's that going to impact them the rest of the way. To me, this was the biggest takeaway from this game. Yeah, Utah did what they were supposed to. They beat a team that really isn't very good especially due to injuries and turnover. But losing Nate Ritchie was a big hit. However, Nate Tillman did step up really well. He's the third string there at strong safety. Now that Rabbit Evans has also been injured, and Tillman, he's gonna get that experience, and in the long run, that's gonna help Utah. But in the short run, we'll see how quickly he can get up to speed and if he can stop some of these better teams that Utah's about to face.
Well, he had 7 tackles, 2 solo and 5 assisted. So played really well in kind of an emergency situation and looked pretty good. I will say that the stat that really stood out is not rushing, right? Because Utah ended up with about the same amount of rushing yards as West Virginia did, but it's 3rd and 4th down. Utah converted on 8 of 13 on 3rd down, and I don't think they failed the 3rd down conversion in the first half, maybe once. And then they were also 3 of 3 on 4th down, so they converted on 11 of 13 drives. That's insane. That is a percentage, plus 85%, close to 90% of conversions. And then West Virginia was 4 of 14 on 3rd down and 4 of 7 on 4th. So converted less than just about 50% of their drives. I mean, the 3rd down conversion, which Utah was terrible against Texas Tech, really completely went the other way against West Virginia. I think was very much the turning point, the deciding factor in that game.
Yeah, I think that those stats sound really fantastic from a fan perspective. Seeing how Utah has played against West Virginia, it brought some hope back for me as a fan. I do look at Utah, though, and I say level of competition. West Virginia is devastated by injuries, and the teams that Utah has succeeded against so far this season have been lackluster teams, in my opinion. Aside from UCLA, question mark? I don't know. But, I digress. The only team that Utah has played this year and that has kept Utah out of the top 25 for some reason, which blows my mind,
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's recency bias.
It's absolutely recency bias. And to say that Utah got absolutely dog walked in that game because of the score is, in my opinion, an unfair thing to say.
People that didn't watch the game.
Correct. And so that's just my personal opinion. It's good to see Utah bounce back. It's good to see Devin Dampier kind of get back into his stride a little bit. And it's good to see the O-line especially get back into their stride a little bit. There was a lot of penalties in that Texas Tech game. There were, just a lot of issues with discipline and execution. So this was good to see, and it makes me excited for the upcoming Arizona State game.
And I will say, while UCLA all of a sudden looks like Utah's biggest win of the year, but West Virginia is statistically a better team than UCLA is. They're on par with a lot of Utah's future opponents. Now, Utah's got two very good opponents coming up. The Arizona State game's going to be a tough one. We'll talk about that on our next segment. And then the BYU game on the road, that game's, I won't say always tough, but usually pretty close, regardless of which team is better. And so Utah's going to have a chance to prove they belong in the top 25 the next couple of weeks. They're going to have a lot of opportunities. But I suspect those last 5 or 6 games, the last 5 games, the opponent quality is going to be a lot closer to West Virginia than it is Texas Tech.
Which is optimistic because we get I think that after Utah lost to Texas Tech, there was a lot of rhetoric online about the Utes being out of the race. Not here by any means. I think in our podcast, we were very much, hey, season's not over. There's plenty of games to play. And then
we expected 2 or 3 losses. That's what happens. We tend to overreact.
Exactly. And if Utah can come out of these next couple games with wins, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So,
but I think you've hit that point exactly, though, and that is that Utah has not won a Big 12 game yet at home, which plenty of non-Utah fans like to remind Ute fans of on social media.
Well, you've seen
that,
my Twitter.
That I suspect will be fixed
right?
this week,
especially on Twitter.
I'm off Twitter until they win a Big 12 home game. So
that's a wise decision because it needs to happen, and that's the thing. That's why these next 2 games, especially, are so pivotal to the season because Arizona State's a good team, and again, we'll talk about that in our next segment. But and then of course the BYU rivalry. But these next 2 games are the games where Utah can prove that they're the team that has performed so well in all the other games. In 4 games this season, they've looked fantastic. And even against Texas Tech, now that I've seen Texas Tech play another game after Utah, this is a very, very good team. I think if we were talking about Utah had just lost to Georgia, who frankly is ranked right around the same place where Texas Tech is. If Utah was losing to Georgia 13-10 in the 4th quarter, and then ended up kind of losing at the end, it'd be a totally different narrative. But just because it's Texas Tech, people are like, oh, throw out the Utes. It's like, no, they just played a very good team. They hung with them till the 4th quarter. They had a banged-up quarterback. This could be a very, very good team still, a team that still has a shot to win the conference. But really, we're going to find out if that's true against Arizona State.
Okay, well, it sounds like we've really closed out talking about the West Virginia game at this point. So I'm going to close the segment here. Guys, thank you so much for watching Statistically Speaking, a UteNation podcast. UteNation.com today with the promo code UTE50. You're going to get a discount for the membership on there. You're going to get some exclusive content that Alex has worked really hard, and so many other people have worked hard to bring to pass for us. So as Utah fans, but we appreciate your input. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the West Virginia game. You've had time to think about it now with the bye week. What are your thoughts on Devin Dampier on the offense? What are your thoughts on the defense? And let us know. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.